Welcome to Chapter and Concept, where we deconstruct the architecture of ideas one page at a time. This is our architecture series. So here's what gets me. You have all these very thoughtful people, leaders in their fields, talking about this system, the Enneagram, as a way to find truth and expose the lies we tell ourselves. But what happens when you turn that tool, a tool designed for self-discovery, on a personality that isn't built for gentle introspection, but for raw, unyielding power? I mean, if the entire point is to expose self-deception, then what is the fundamental lie at the heart of a personality defined by strength and control? That very question takes us straight to a specific blueprint in this system. It takes us to the Type 8. To really get to the bottom of the Type 8, we have to start with the exterior. We have to examine the incredible structure they show the world. And we're not just looking at a personality here, we're analyzing the architecture of a fortress. Okay, let's get into it. On the Enneagram, we land right here, at point 8. It's known as the challenger, sometimes the asserter. Right out of the gate, those names tell you a lot. We are dealing with a driving, powerful, and, let's be honest, an intimidating force. So this is the blueprint, right? The core mechanics. You can see it immediately. This is a personality architected for pure survival. The basic desire, to protect themselves. Simple. The basic fear, being controlled or harmed. And then you look at the drivers, vengeance and lust. These aren't just passive feelings. These are the engine. They are active, aggressive forces. And let's be really clear about this word, lust. It's not what you think. It's not just about sex. It's an all-consuming drive for intensity, a need to push everything to the limit just to feel alive, to exert control, and to make an impact. This isn't a mood. It's their default setting. And you can see exactly how that lust for intensity plays out in the real world. A Type 8 moves against things. They are that source of strength, for sure, but they can also be incredibly intimidating. And here's the kicker, the real contradiction. They absolutely hate bullies, but they can easily become the biggest bully in the room. This isn't hypocrisy. It's just a byproduct of their design. Control is everything. So we've seen the fortress. It is hard. It is intimidating. It is built to withstand absolutely anything. But here's the thing. Every fortress is built to protect something. So now we're going to go past the walls. We're going to deconstruct this thing and look for the cracks in the foundation. So where does an architecture like this even come from? Well, the sources trace it back to something called a childhood wound. Basically, an early life experience in a tough environment that taught them one simple, brutal lesson. To be vulnerable is to be destroyed. You had to grow up fast. You had to be strong just to make it. And this is where it all clicks. This is the central paradox of the Type 8. Every single external trait is a direct reaction to an internal reality. The controlling, forceful exterior, it's a defense against a deep, terrifying fear of being controlled. That hard, vengeful shell, it's built to protect a surprisingly powerful instinct to defend the innocent. And the entire source of their legendary strength is a wall built around a vulnerable inner child. This quote just cuts right to the heart of it. The challenger knows, on some level, that every act of control, every show of force, is just a defense mechanism. It's all in service of protecting that one part of themselves that they believe the world will absolutely crush if it's ever exposed. But a defensive architecture like this, well, it comes at a very high price. A fortress that's designed to keep enemies out can very easily become a prison. And the greatest threat to this structure, it often comes not from the outside, but from within. Think about it. Their fixation is vengeance, right? Directed at anyone who betrays them. But the reality is, no one can be harder on an 8 than they are on themselves. The judgment they pass on other people is just a tiny fraction of the judgment they reserve for their own failures. And this creates this tragic, self-reinforcing loop. Let's walk through it. First, that lust for intensity drives them to overdo everything. That often leads to self-destructive behavior, which causes real pain. And what does that pain do? It just confirms their deepest fear, that they are being harmed, that they are being destroyed, which just justifies an even stronger, more intense defense the next time around. So, what's the path forward for a personality that's built on control and designed to resist vulnerability at all costs? Well, the blueprint for renovation requires a direct, head-on confrontation with its own design. The way out, according to the sources, seems completely counterintuitive. It's not more action, it's not more control, it's the polar opposite, contemplative practice. And the tools are solitude, silence, and stillness. 3 things an 8's lust for intensity is literally programmed to avoid at all costs. The invitation is stillness, but the real challenge, the real work, is what stillness requires, and that's consent. For a type 8, to consent is to give up control. It means consciously choosing to stand down, to stop pushing, to just be. And that flies directly in the face of their most basic survival instinct. And here it is, the conflict laid bare. The entire architecture of the 8 is built on this impulse, to control, to exert power, to move against. But the path to growth, this mandate of stillness, demands the complete opposite, to consent, to let go, to be present. For an 8, this is the ultimate test, to deliberately choose to let go of the very control that has defined their entire existence. That brings this chapter to a close. Thank you for joining us at Chapter and Concept. Join us for the next episode as we continue building the architecture of ideas. Don't forget to subscribe to stay within the foundation.